Every once in a while, life gives you a test. Sometimes it's a small one, like losing Wi-Fi for 10 minutes or realizing the Taco Bell bathroom is locked when you needed it most. And sometimes it's the death is knocking on your door with a chainsaw kind of test. Most normal people fail those because, physics, nature, and reality are undefeated, but not the people on this list. No, these people should have been 6 feet under. But somehow, some way, they slipped through death's fingers like a greased-up ferret. They didn't survive because they were brave or smart. They survived because the universe was too tired that day. So today, we're counting down 33 dumbest survival stories in America that shouldn't be real. And trust me, some of these are so absurd, you'll start questioning whether we're all living inside a badly written cartoon. Number 1. Picture this. It's a quiet day in Washington, D.C. until someone decides to spice things up with gunfire. One man gets caught in the chaos, and a bullet is fired straight into his stomach. Now, this should be the end of his story. A tragic obituary, maybe some flowers, a little sad jazz in the background. But no, instead the bullet smacks into his wallet and smartphone. This man didn't have body armor. He didn't have military training. What he did have was 3 months' worth of receipts, a collection of half-punch loyalty cards, and an old iPhone that already barely worked. The bullet plowed through cash, tore up his cards, cracked the phone screen, and then just stopped, dead. Like the bullet looked around at the mess and said, "Yeah, you know what? I've had enough." Police on scene said it was a miracle. Personally, I think it was just the bullet being too embarrassed to admit it got beaten by an iPhone. Either way, the guy walked away unharmed, holding his mangled phone like it was the world's dumbest trophy. Forget AppleCare. This man got divine protection from Verizon. Number 2. Now let's head to Kansas City, where one woman found out her hair wasn't just stylish, it was life-saving armor. Her ex-boyfriend pulled a gun, shot her in the head, and let's be real, everyone thought that was it. Roll credits. End of the movie. Except the bullet hit her hair weave and stopped. That's right, the weave absorbed the impact like it was auditioning for Mythbusters. She walked away alive, shaken, and probably with one hell of a headache, but alive nonetheless. When reporters asked the stylist about it later, she said, "Never in my life." Yeah, no kidding. Imagine going into the salon for a new look and coming out with the equivalent of medieval chainmail sewn into your scalp. Somewhere out there, Kevlar is jealous. Somewhere out there, Batman is taking notes. So if anyone ever tells you spending money on your hair is a waste, just tell them, "Well, mine can stop a bullet." That's not vanity. That's survival. Number 3. Ohio, 2014. A bus driver named Ricky Wagoner is ambushed by 2 armed men. They aim at his chest and fire. Now, point-blank chest shots usually mean game over, except Wagoner had something in his pocket. Was it a gun? Number. Was it body armor? Nope. It was a pocket-sized Bible. The bullet slammed into the book and lodged inside like the Bible was saying, "Not today, Satan." Take that garbage somewhere else, Wagoner survived without a scratch. He even managed to fight off his attackers and call for help, all while carrying around a book full of wisdom and, apparently, bulletproof paper. Police later confirmed the story, calling it divine intervention. And maybe it was, or maybe it was just really, really bad aim. Either way, Wagoner walked away with a story so crazy it almost sounds fake. Surviving a gunfight because you were carrying the New Testament? That's not just dumb luck. That's the ultimate plot twist. Number 4. Philadelphia, 2013. A corner store shootout breaks out. Bullets flying like it's the 4th of July, but way less festive. One clerk is caught in the chaos, and a bullet smacks him right in the gut. That should have been the end. Cue the chalk outline, cue the news headline. But nope. Instead, the bullet hits his belt buckle. Not a Kevlar vest. Not tactical gear. Just the shiny little piece of metal holding up his jeans. The slug bounced off like it just ran headfirst into a medieval shield. The guy lifted his shirt afterward to show off the dented buckle, like it was the Medal of Honor. And honestly, fair enough. He survived because his pants were secure. Imagine telling your grandkids, "I'm here today because I never skipped leg day, and I wore a good belt." Number 5. Now, if you think that's lucky, wait until you hear about Roy Sullivan. This guy wasn't just unlucky, he was the cosmic punching bag of the weather gods. Roy was a Virginia park ranger who got struck by lightning 7 different times. The first time, accident. Second time, bad luck. By the 4th time, even Zeus had to be laughing. His hair got set on fire, his eyebrows got fried off. Once he was knocked out cold just trying to go to work. After that, he literally carried a bucket of water around so he could put himself out like a human candle. Most people die after one strike. Roy treated lightning like it was an annoying coworker who wouldn't leave him alone. By the 7th hit, he didn't even bother screaming. He just sighed. Again, and lived. The man was basically a Looney Tunes character with a government paycheck. Number 6, Joan Murray, skydiver extraordinaire, thought it'd be a good day for a jump. She leapt from 14,500 feet. Main chute fails. Backup chute fails. That's 2 for 2 in the "you're about to be a pancake" department. She slams into the ground at 80 miles per hour. Normally, that's the kind of thing that turns you into a cautionary tale. But Joan landed on a fire ant hill. The ants swarmed her broken body, stinging her 200 times. And here's the kicker. Those stings flooded her with adrenaline, shocking her heart just enough to keep her alive until paramedics arrived. Yes, she survived because a swarm of insects basically bullied her heart into beating. Months later, after multiple surgeries, Joan actually went skydiving again, because apparently once you survive being saved by ants, you unlock God mode. Number 7. Jeremy Taylor, Oregon, 2019. A snowstorm buries his SUV. He's trapped for 5 days. No food, no water, just him, his dog, and a handful of Taco Bell fire sauce packets in the glove box. So, like any true survivor, he ate the sauce. For 5 days, he lived on nothing but spicy ketchup in tiny packets. And it worked. When rescuers found him, he was hungry, but fine, and probably sweating pure jalapenos. The man later joked online, "Taco Bell fire sauce saves lives." He wasn't wrong. Somewhere, a Taco Bell exec probably screamed, "Marketing gold!" And you know his dog was just sitting there like, "Really?" I had kibble in the trunk. Number 8, Florida. Where else? A hurricane is tearing through. Officials say evacuate. Sensible people leave. But one man, known locally as Lieutenant Dan, decides the safest place during a Category 3 storm is his little fishing boat. No life jacket, no backup plan. Just him, 120 miles per hour winds, and pure Florida man confidence. He even live-streamed it. "The safest place in the world to be is on my boat," he bragged. Mother Nature must have rolled her eyes because somehow he and the boat survived. The storm shredded everything else around him, but Lieutenant Dan emerged victorious, probably cracking open a beer while the Coast Guard screamed into their radios. Proof that sometimes stupidity is the best flotation device. Number 9, the Bronx Zoo, 2012. A man jumps 17 feet from a monorail into the tiger enclosure. Why? Because he wanted to be one with the tiger. The 400-pound Siberian tiger said, "Cool, let's start with me chewing on your leg." It mauled him, bit his arms, dragged him around like a chew toy. Zookeepers rushed in with fire extinguishers, blasting the cat until it backed off. Here's the insane part. While bleeding out, the guy actually petted the tiger. Like, "Good kitty." Right after it almost ate him. He survived with broken bones and bite wounds, and later told police, "Everyone makes choices." Yes, but not everyone makes that choice. Number 10, Florida again, because of course. It's late, it's dark, and a 49-year-old man spots what he thinks is a dog outside a motel. He walks over to pet it, except it wasn't a dog. It was a 7-foot alligator. The gator bit into his leg like it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. Deputies arrived, wrestled it, and duct taped its mouth shut. The man lived, But imagine trying to explain that at the ER. So, what happened? Yeah, I tried to pet a dog, but turns out the dog had scales and 80 razor-sharp teeth. Number 11, California, 2012. Dante Autullo is in his garage using a nail gun, like any other weekend handyman. He pulls the trigger, feels something smack his head, thinks, "Huh, that stung a bit." Then he goes about his day, shovels snow, eats dinner, cracks a beer. You know, normal activities for a guy who just shot a 3.5-inch nail directly into his brain. Yup. The nail went in through his skull and buried itself deep into the center of his brain, like it was redecorated. And Dante didn't even notice. The next day, he finally goes for an X-ray, and the doctor is like, "Sir, how are you even talking to me right now?" Surgeons unscrewed the nail out of his skull like it was a Home Depot return policy. Dante survived with 0 major damage because apparently his brain just slid out of the way. And the best part? While high on morphine, he looked at the X-ray and said, "That's a Kodak moment." This man survived because his skull is basically made out of dumb luck and sarcasm. Number 12, 1991, on the deck of an aircraft carrier. A 21-year-old Navy crewman named John Bridges gets sucked headfirst into the jet engine of an A6 intruder. That's usually how you make instant human soup. But somehow his helmet and tool belt got sucked in first, jamming the fan blades and causing the engine to flame out. The man was stuck in there, his body pinned by raw suction, but still alive. His arm wedged against the intake wall just enough to keep him from being turned into blender puree. His fellow sailors shut the engine down, yanked him out, and he walked away with just a broken collarbone and some burns. That's it. No missing limbs, no vaporized torso, just one busted shoulder and an amazing story. Imagine looking your kids in the eye one day and saying, "Back in my day, I lost an arm wrestling contest with a jet engine." Number 13, Wisconsin, 2017. A drunk man gets locked inside a gas station beer cooler after hours. Now most people would panic. Not this guy. He said, "Well, guess I live here now." So he spent the night cracking open cold ones. Literally. He downed an 18-ounce ice house and 3 cans of Four Loko, like he was training for the apocalypse. When the store reopened the next morning, customers found him stumbling out like a frozen caveman, absolutely hammered, but alive. The kicker? The cooler wasn't actually locked. He could have pushed the door open at any time. But then we wouldn't have the legendary tale of the man who survived a night in the wild using only liquid bread and poor decisions. Number 14, Detroit, 2009. A woman hears gunshots during a home invasion and feels a massive punch to the chest. She thinks, "This is it." Goodbye, cruel world. But instead of collapsing, she checks and finds the bullet never pierced her heart. Why? Because it was stopped by the metal underwire of her bra. Yes, lingerie became life armor. Victoria's Secret. We've got lace satin and now ballistic protection. The bullet flattened against the wire, leaving her with just a bruise. She later told police she never skips wearing a bra. And honestly, after that, neither would I. Number 15, 1954, Alabama. Ann Hodges is napping peacefully on her sofa when an 8.5-pound meteorite from outer space slams through her roof, bounces off her radio, and smacks her in the side. Statistically, the odds of this happening are lower than winning the lottery while being struck by lightning during a shark attack. Yet Ann lived. She woke up confused, bruised, and suddenly the only person in history confirmed to have survived being struck by a meteor. Her house was trashed, but Ann became a local celebrity. Life magazine even ran photos of her with the cosmic bruise on her hip. Imagine explaining that injury. "Oh, this! That's from a rock traveling billions of years through space just to slap me in the ribs." Number 16, Florida, 2021. A man named Jesus Escobar is driving down R4 when a 7-foot piece of scrap metal falls off an overpass. It smashes through his windshield, crushing the driver's seat area into a pancake. Everyone who saw the van afterward assumed the driver was dead. But somehow, Escobar had leaned forward at the exact moment the metal slammed down. The chunk of steel bent around him like a twisted hug from the Grim Reaper. He crawled out with nothing but a few scrapes. Physics looked at him and said, "You should be dead." But fate just shrugged and let him walk. Talk about Final Destination vibes. Number 17, 1912. Former President Theodore Roosevelt is campaigning in Milwaukee when a man shoots him point blank in the chest. The bullet should have ripped through his lung and killed him on the spot. But Roosevelt had a 50-page speech folded up in his jacket pocket, along with a metal eyeglass case. The bullet slowed down, lodged in his rib, and he survived. And because Roosevelt was basically half man, half grizzly bear, he didn't even go to the hospital right away. He stood there bleeding through his shirt and gave a 90-minute speech. His opening line, "It takes more than that to kill a bull moose." Absolute madman. He carried the bullet in his chest for the rest of his life like it was just another accessory. Number 18, 2003. Construction worker Ron Hunt is standing on a ladder when he slips and falls face first onto an 18-inch drill bit. The auger goes in through his right eye and out the back of his skull. He doesn't die. He doesn't even lose consciousness. He literally reaches up, touches the drill sticking out of his head, and says, "Huh, that's not great." Doctors later unscrewed it, and incredibly, the drill had pushed his brain aside instead of destroying it. Ron lost his eye, but otherwise, fine, he joked afterward. It was a Kodak moment. And I don't know what's scarier, the fact that he lived, or the fact that he thought it was funny. Number 19, 1848, Vermont, Phineas Gage, railroad foreman. While tamping down explosive powder, a spark ignites, and a 43-inch iron rod blasts up through his face, under his chin, and straight out the top of his skull. The rod lands yards away, covered in brain matter. Phineas, he just gets up. He's talking. He's conscious. He even sits in a cart and rides into town like it's just another Tuesday. Doctors expected him to drop dead instantly. Instead, he lived another 12 years. Sure, he was never quite the same. His personality flipped from responsible foreman to angry drunk uncle. But still, the man walked away from a situation most of us wouldn't even walk into. Number 20, Texas, 2018. A man finds a rattlesnake in his yard and does what every Texan thinks is a good idea. Chops its head off with a shovel. Problem solved, right? Except when he goes to pick up the head, it bites him. Yup. Snakeheads can still reflexively bite for up to an hour after death, and this one pumped his hand full of venom like it was auditioning for The Walking Dead. The man immediately collapsed, had seizures, lost his vision, and needed a helicopter ride to the hospital. It took 26 doses of anti-venom to save him. Most victims only need 4. He survived, but with permanent kidney damage. His wife later admitted she told him not to touch it. And honestly, if your wife ever says, "Don't pick up the severed snakehead," maybe just listen. Number 21, San Jose, 2025. A man decides to rob an Italian restaurant. But instead of, the door, he chooses the pizza oven air duct. He shimmies up there like a raccoon with poor life choices, belly full of dreams, only to get wedged like a human calzone. Morning comes. Staff hear muffled cries above the oven. Firefighters dismantle the ductwork and pull him out covered in soot, dehydrated and smelling like pepperoni. He's arrested, of course, but alive. Dumb luck kept him from roasting overnight like the day's special. The cops couldn't resist a punny Facebook post. This thief found himself in a real crusty situation. Number 22, South Carolina, 2010. A 23-year-old man decides to play real-life Frogger. After a few beers, he sprints into highway traffic, shouting, "Go!" like he's got extra lives in his pocket. One SUV later, he's airborne. He crashes down hard, bones shattered, but alive. At the hospital, he sheepishly admits the inspiration, the 1980s arcade game. Bro thought he was a pixelated frog. The headline wrote itself, "Man Plays Frogger." Loses. Number 23, Montana, 2016. Outdoorsman Todd Orr hikes into bear country. Suddenly, a 300-pound mama grizzly charges him. He sprays bear repellent, drops, plays dead. She mauls him bloody, then leaves. Todd gets up, blood dripping everywhere, starts hiking back. Plot twist, the same bear circles back and attacks him again. Second mauling, worse than the first. She rips open his arm to the bone, scalps him, leaves him looking like raw hamburger. And somehow, Todd survives. He films a selfie video mid-bloodbath, calmly saying, "I'm pretty badly hurt, but I'll make it." He hikes 3 miles, drives himself to the hospital. Staples, surgery, hundreds of stitches. And when asked later, he shrugs. Life sucks in bear country. Number 24. California, 2021. A skydiver's chute malfunctions. His reserve also fails. He plummets earthward like a screaming anvil. Normally, that's how you meet the afterlife. But no, he smashes through the roof of a house. The building absorbs just enough impact to save him. He tumbles between 2 homes, alive but mangled. Neighbors run over expecting a corpse, only to find him blinking, asking for help. He literally turned someone's 2-story colonial into a giant pillow. The homeowner was not thrilled about the new skylight. Number 25, YouTuber Trevor Jacob, 2021. He takes off in a small plane, cameras rolling. Mid-air, he pretends the engine fails. He bails out, selfie stick in hand, parachutes safely while the plane nosedives into a California forest. He posts the video, "I crashed my airplane." Except investigators figure out he staged it for views. He survives, sure, but ends up in federal prison for obstructing the probe. Imagine surviving a plane crash only to be taken down by the algorithm. Dumb luck saved his life. Dumb decisions took his freedom. Number 26, Oregon, 2019. A driver slams into a ditch at night. Police show up, and the man, bloody but alive, insists, "It wasn't me driving, it was the ghost deer." Yes, he claimed a transparent deer ran across the road, spooked him, and made him crash. His survival explanation? Paranormal livestock. The trooper's official report listed the cause as driver was spooked. Honestly, that's the best police paperwork I've ever heard of. Number 27, Pennsylvania, 2014. A man gets pulled over. The officer asks, "Anything in your pockets I should know about?" The guy nods gravely and says, "Yeah, a tiny turtle. Please be careful, he's shy." Sure enough, there's a live baby turtle in there. Why? Nobody knows. The cop gently pats him down anyway. Somehow, the man survives not just the traffic stop, but also walking around with reptilian cargo in his jeans. Darwin was probably screaming from the grave. Number 28, Wisconsin, 2018. 2 drunks in a bar brawl. One guy explains to police afterward, "He said my aura was beige." What choice did I have? Yes, beige aura. The fight left them bruised but alive, because apparently, assault with spiritual insult isn't lethal. Officers on scene couldn't keep straight faces. Surviving a fight because you were cosmically offended? That's next-level nonsense. Number 29, Philadelphia, 2013. A man's caught hauling a stolen TV out of someone's house. Police confront him, and he blurts, "I'm not stealing it. I'm helping the TV get home." It looked lost. He survives the arrest, obviously. The TV returned to its rightful owner. The excuse? Legendary. The only thing more absurd than the alibi is the fact that the cops didn't die laughing. Number 30, Vermont, 2022. A college kid gets busted with a fake ID. The cop says, "Really?" The kid says, "I'm not trying to be 21. I'm method acting as a guy who is 21. Survives the encounter, survives the embarrassment, but not the ejection from the bar. Imagine explaining to your future kids, "Daddy almost went to jail because he thought he was Daniel Day-Lewis." Number 31, Chicago, 2018. A woman's walking down the street when a shootout breaks out nearby. Wrong place, wrong time. A bullet cracks off, heading straight for her chest. She feels the impact, thinks, "This is how I die." Shopping bags and all. Except she doesn't die, because the bullet hit her metal bra underwire. Yes, the lingerie industry accidentally made life-saving armor. Forget body armor. This was Victoria's Secret meets medieval knight. The round flattened against the wire, and she walked away with nothing but a bruise and an awkward story for her friends. Imagine explaining that to police. "Ma'am, how did you survive?" "Oh, the same way I survived bad dates. Support." Number 32, Texas, 2018. A guy chops the head off a rattlesnake in his yard. He's proud, chest puffed out, shovel still in hand. Problem solved, right? Except when he leans down to pick up the head, it bites him. That's right, even dead, the snake wasn't finished. The head latched on and pumped venom into his hand like it was a final boss move. The man collapses in his yard, convulsing, while his wife calls 911. He has seizures, internal bleeding, vision loss, and survives only after a helicopter ride and 26 vials of anti-venom. Most snakebite victims need 4. This man took enough to kill a horse. Doctors couldn't believe he pulled through, and when he woke up, the first thing he said was basically, "Well, guess I won't do that again." Yeah, no kidding. Number 33, Idaho, 2012. A man tries to rob a bank, but instead of waiting in line like a normal criminal, he decides to improvise. He storms in, screams, and demands money. The bank is closed, no tellers, no cashiers, just him and locked doors. He panics, tries to break into the vault, gets stuck halfway, and is immediately tackled by police. Now, here's the kicker. When they arrest him, he insists, "I wasn't trying to rob the bank. I just forgot my ATM card." And somehow, he survived not only the tackle, but also being so dumb he confused grand larceny with bad customer service. Honestly, Darwin was standing there sharpening his pencil and then just gave up. And that's it. 33 survival stories that prove some people don't make it through life with brains or strength, just pure dumb luck. Bullets stopped by wallets, ants acting as EMTs, hot sauce keeping a man alive. Reality really is stranger than fiction. So don't test fate, don't pet gators, don't play Frogger on the freeway, and definitely don't try to be one with the tiger. If you laughed, cringed, or shook your head, smash that like button, subscribe for more dives into human stupidity, and drop your own "I shouldn't be alive" moment in the comments. Remember, there's a thin line between a Darwin Award and a survival story. These folks, they just barely landed on the right side. We'll see you in the next one.